Prince Harry's unexpected visit to the UK didn't just stir mild concern, it triggered a major royal dispute. And the person most unsettled by the drama? Prince William. Reports suggest William wasn't merely worried or let down. He was genuinely enraged. Once the details surface, the reason becomes obvious. Harry arrived looking like a completely different man. In California, he's casual, brown polo shirt, baseball cap, sunglasses, blending into everyday life. But the moment his plane touched down in London, his entire image shifted. Out came the tailored suits, the formal walk, and the royal demeanor. It was as if he slipped back into his old role as a working prince. That performance is exactly what frustrated William. It wasn't just about Harry's sudden presence, it was the way he acted as though he still belonged to the institution he publicly abandoned only a few years ago. What made it worse was the lack of communication. No warning, no courtesy, no acknowledgement of his brother. To many observers, the trip was a polished PR exercise. But beneath the surface, it seemed like Harry was testing the waters for a royal return. William, however, isn't convinced. For him, this wasn't about reconciliation, but another self-serving act from a brother he barely recognizes anymore. What fuels the tension further is Harry's attempt to live on both sides of the fence. He wants the prestige of royal titles and red carpet appearances, while also enjoying the independence of his Montecito lifestyle. He's eager for the public recognition, but equally quick to criticize the institution, file lawsuits, and make grand donations to bolster his image. William sees the pattern clearly. Harry's visit wasn't about family, it was about optics. Even though King Charles granted his younger son a brief 54-minute audience at Clarence's house, William perceived it as an insult, the king showing grace while Harry spread disruption, and this visit wasn't solely about reconnecting with his father. Harry also made time for a highly publicized appearance at a Ukrainian memorial, complete with emotional statements and staged photos. He bypassed royal protocol, consulting neither the palace nor William, who stands next in line to the throne. Instead, he justified the move by saying he checked with the British government. For William, it was yet another reminder. Harry's trip was a show, not a gesture of reconciliation. Then there's Meghan Markle. Many are wondering what she was thinking, allowing Harry to fly off to an active war zone. To Prince William, that decision only added to the confusion. It wasn't simply reckless. It underscored the idea that Harry is living in his own media-driven world, more focused on headlines than healing family relationships. And then came the money. Harry made a very public $1.5 million donation to children's charities. While generosity is commendable, the way he presented it rubbed the royals the wrong way. Within the monarchy, the rule is simple. Support causes quietly, without making it about yourself. But Harry's approach was the opposite, complete with press releases and photo ops. To the royal household, it looked more like a publicity stunt than genuine philanthropy. The fallout was immediate. Any chance of repairing the bond with his brother appears more distant than ever. William, who once considered Harry his closest ally, now views him as a stranger acting out a royal role he abandoned. Public opinion in Britain reflects the same sentiment. Many people have moved on, and so has William. Harry's visit may have been short, but its effect on the family was enormous. Tension inside the palace was described as explosive. William didn't issue a statement, didn't send a message, didn't even attempt contact. His silence alone spoke volumes. According to insiders, that silence was deliberate. The heart of the matter is the unspoken rift between the brothers who were once inseparable. To William, Harry's actions aren't about reconciliation. They're about opportunism. What cut deepest was Harry's involvement with causes still closely tied to the monarchy. His solo appearance at the Diana Award, a charity both once championed together, struck many as provocative. It wasn't coordinated, it wasn't collaborative, and William's absence was no accident, it was a message. By stepping into that event alone, Harry was seen as turning their late mother's legacy into a stage for himself, rather than a shared tribute. Then came the Ukraine trip. While Harry portrayed it as humanitarian work, William reportedly saw only staged optics. The poses, the scripted statements, the emotional angles, it all looked calculated. And the timing was especially poor. As Harry crafted moments for global headlines, William was occupied with the daily grind of royal duties, state functions, ceremonial responsibilities, and everything that comes with preparing for the throne. To William, Harry's actions didn't bridge the gap between them. They widened it. While William has been carrying the heavy load of royal duties, everything that comes with being heir to the throne, Harry was jetting across Europe with his own media team, building a personal narrative. Insiders described it as a rogue tour, designed to remind the world he's still royal, even if only in name. The contradictions of Harry's trip made things worse. Here's a man who sued the UK government over a lack of security, yet confidently traveled to an active war zone under the protection of that same government. He claims Britain is unsafe, but then walks through Kiev just days after missile strikes. To William, this wasn't only hypocrisy, it was a direct insult to the monarchy Harry distanced himself from. And then there's King Charles. His choice to grant Harry a short meeting at Clarence House didn't escape notice. For years, William has stood by his father through scandal, illness, and the immense pressures of the crown. He stepped in when needed, taken on extra duties, and supported the monarchy without complaint. To see Harry, who publicly exposed the family's most painful secrets through books, interviews, and streaming deals, welcomed back so easily struck a nerve. For William, the frustration isn't about a single visit. It's about the ongoing cycle. Every time the dust begins to settle, Harry resurfaces with a new project, a new appearance, or a new cause that reopens old wounds. To those close to William, it feels endless, a storm that never fully passes. Privately, many believe William has accepted a painful truth. The brother he once trusted is gone. The bond has been replaced with distance, the warmth replaced with suspicion. Every gesture Harry makes now feels less like reconciliation and more like manipulation. William's anger isn't because Harry is seeking a way back. It's because Harry wants to act like a prince without shouldering the responsibilities. In William's view, there can be no path forward without accountability, no reconciliation without a sincere apology, something Harry appears unwilling to offer while clinging to his own narrative. This isn't only about royal protocol for William, it's deeply personal. He's spent years quietly enduring the weight of expectation, the loss of their mother, and the duty of preserving the family legacy. Through it all, he has resisted turning personal pain into public spectacle. Harry, on the other hand, has leaned into the spotlight, grabbing microphones, posing for cameras, and, in William's eyes, trading the family's dignity for headlines. Harry has turned grief into a brand, transforming personal pain into profit through memoirs, documentaries, and media deals. So, when he walked into Clarence House for that brief meeting with King Charles, tension was already in the air. William didn't oppose the visit publicly, but behind closed doors, his frustration was unmistakable. To him, it wasn't a gesture of fatherly compassion. It was a sign of weakness. Charles, as a father, is inclined to forgive. William, however, is looking ahead as a future king. He worries about the long-term damage, the erosion of credibility, and what happens when the monarchy looks like it can be used as a revolving door. At the heart of William's anger is trust, or the lack of it. He doesn't trust Harry, not after the explosive memoir Spare, not after the Netflix series, and not after the podcast that spilled private family moments into the public sphere. For William, it's not about a single apology. It's about a consistent pattern. And Harry's pattern has been clear. One day, he's attacking the monarchy. The next, he's flying back to London, donating money, and posing for charity photo ops. It feels disingenuous. This sentiment isn't limited to William. Within royal circles, resentment has been building over what many see as Harry's double life. He rejected royal duties, but continues to act as if his position hasn't changed. His involvement with the Invictus Games, the Diana Award, and other high-profile appearances is viewed as an attempt to rebuild a royal image, without committing to the sacrifice or discipline the role requires. Harry's speech in Ukraine, where he spoke about siblings and emotional support, was particularly painful for William. Instead of hearing words of wisdom, he heard hypocrisy. How could the same brother who aired private arguments, accused the family of cruelty, and leaked damaging stories now stand on a stage speaking about unity? To William, it was hollow rhetoric, words without self-awareness. What stings most is Harry's continued posture as a victim. In William's eyes, Harry isn't the wounded party. He's the one inflicting wounds. And beyond the personal hurt, there's growing anxiety about the future. What happens when Charles is no longer on the throne and William becomes king? Will Harry attempt to return with greater influence? Will Meghan re-enter the UK spotlight? For William, this is a nightmare scenario. His reign overshadowed by constant battles with a brother who refuses to choose a side. In his view, it's simple. You're either in or you're out. And so far, Harry seems determined to keep playing both. From William's perspective, Harry has been trying to keep one foot in both worlds, the privileges of royalty and the freedoms of private life. But the monarchy is built on structure, duty, and clearly defined roles. Harry's unpredictable choices threaten that foundation. For a future king responsible for preserving stability, that isn't just troublesome, it's dangerous. William has accepted the distance between them. The sadness remains, buried beneath responsibility and resentment, but the hope of reconciliation is gone. Not without accountability. In his eyes, the crown isn't merely about bloodlines. It's about trust, tradition, and sacrifice. And right now, Harry has broken all three.